know the song. You know every word. You know who sings it. But do you know who actually wrote it? Because sometimes the artist who made a song famous had absolutely nothing to do with creating it. And sometimes the original version came first, went nowhere, and was all but forgotten, until someone else found it, understood it differently, and turned it into history. Today we are telling 10 of those stories, 10 iconic rock hits, written by somebody else entirely. And in several of these cases, the version you know completely transformed what the original was even about. These are verified, these are documented, and some of them will change the way you hear these songs forever. Number 1, Hound Dog, Elvis Presley, 1956. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. In August 1952, two young songwriters from the East Coast, Jerry Leiber, aged 18, and Mike Stoller, aged 19, watched a large, fierce woman from Alabama named Willie Mae Thornton sing the blues in a Los Angeles rehearsal space. Crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. They were, by their own account, completely knocked out by her. Bandleader Johnny Otis brought them specifically to write a song for her. They went home and wrote Hound Dog in approximately 15 minutes. The song, as written, is not a man singing to a dog. As Mike Stoller said decades later, it's a song that a woman sings to a man, not a man to a dog. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. The hound dog in the original is a gigolo, a man living off a woman's income, doing nothing, about to be thrown out. Big Mama Thornton recorded it in August 1952. Her version was raw, strutting, and menacing. It spent 7 weeks at number 1 on the R&B chart and sold over 500,000 copies. She was paid $500 for the session. No royalties, no further credit. Crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. 4 years later, Elvis Presley saw a Las Vegas comedian named Freddie Bell perform a comedic version of the song. He adopted it, changed the arrangement, and recorded his version in 3 sessions at RCA's New York studio in July 1956. His version reached number 1 for 11 weeks on the Billboard Pop chart. It became one of the defining moments of rock and roll. Leiber and Stoller eventually received their royalties, but only after Presley's version made ignoring them impossible. Thornton received nothing more. She spent the rest of her life telling the story of the song she made famous but never profited from. Number 2, All Along the Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix, 1968. In November 1967, Bob Dylan released his album, John Wesley Harding, sparse, biblical, almost austere, simple acoustic guitar, bass, minimal drums. One of the songs was All Along the Watchtower. Dylan described it himself as a small song of mine that nobody paid any attention to. Released as a single, it failed to chart. Then Jimi Hendrix heard it. Hendrix was a devoted Dylan fan, to the point of once refusing to let a New York DJ play anything but Dylan songs. When John Wesley Harding was released, Hendrix played it obsessively. He later said, "Dylan's songs are so much like me that it seems I wrote them myself. I have the feeling that Watchtower is a song I could have come up with, but I am sure I would never have finished it." He recorded his version at Olympic Studios in London in January 1968. Noel Redding walked out of the session, so Traffic's Dave Mason played bass instead. Hendrix used a Gibson Flying V. For slide work, he grabbed knives, beer bottles, and a Zippo lighter from around the studio. He processed the guitar through multiple effects. He reversed the song's structure, opening with what Dylan had placed at the end. Dylan heard the result and was, by his own description, overwhelmed. He had such talent, Dylan said. He could find things inside a song and vigorously develop them. He found things that other people wouldn't think of finding in there. He probably improved upon it.
Princess got the view.
Dylan subsequently changed his own live arrangement of Watchtower to mirror what Hendrix had built. He has performed it that way ever since, and calls every performance of it a tribute to Jimi.
If you just learned something you never knew before, there is a whole lot more where that came from. Hit subscribe to The Rock Lens. Every single week, we go deeper into the real stories, secrets, and hidden history behind the music you have loved your whole life. The button is right there. One click. We will see you in the next one.
Number 3, Nothing Compares to You, Sinéad O'Connor, 1990.
Since you've been gone, I can do whatever I want.
In 1984, Prince wrote Nothing Compares to You in a single session at his rehearsal space in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. His sound engineer, Susan Rogers, said he wrote it in approximately 1 hour.
Eat my dinner in a fancy restaurant.
The inspiration may have been his housekeeper quitting, or a friend's breakup. Nobody knows for certain. That ambiguity is part of the song's power. Prince gave it away. He handed it to his side project band The Family, who released it on their 1985 self-titled album.
But nothing.
The Family played one show, then fell apart. The song was never released as a single. It was essentially buried.
It's been so lonely without you.
5 years later, Sinéad O'Connor's manager Fachtna O'Kelly heard the Family's version and thought it suited her perfectly. O'Connor recorded it with producer Nellie Hooper. Stripped down, intimate, just voice and space. She nailed the vocals in one take.
Where did I go?
During the music video, director John Maybury noticed O'Connor's eyes fill with tears at a specific lyric. He kept rolling. She thought she had ruined the take. The tear that runs down her face at the line about her mother's garden was entirely unplanned. That one involuntary tear turned the song into a cultural event. Nothing Compares to You reached number 1 in 14 countries. It spent 4 weeks at number 1 in the United States. It became the 3rd best-selling single of 1990.
But he's a fool.
And then Sinéad met Prince. She later told Norwegian broadcaster NRK, "He summoned me to his house after Nothing Compares came out. We didn't get on at all. In fact, we had a punch-up." Prince had written the greatest song of her career, then physically fought her over what she had done with it. Number 4, Respect, Aretha Franklin, 1967. In the summer of 1965, Otis Redding wrote and recorded Respect at Stax Recording Studios in Memphis. The song was simple: a man coming home after a hard day, asking his woman for appreciation. A request. Earnest, slightly bruised my pride. It reached number 4 on the R&B chart. Redding loved it. He described it, "That's one of my favorite songs because it has a better groove than any of my records." 2 years later, Aretha Franklin decided to cover it. Atlantic Records producer Jerry Wexler and engineer Tom Dowd were both startled. Dowd recalled, "Aretha starts singing it to me," I said. "I know that song. I made it with Otis Redding like 3 years ago." What Aretha did next was not a cover. It was a reconstruction. She sped up the tempo. She brought in her sisters as backing vocalists. She added the now iconic spelling of R-E-S-P-E-C-T, her own invention. Not in Redding's original, she added "Sock It to Me." She transformed a man's humble domestic request into a declaration of power by a black woman in 1967 America, in the middle of the civil rights movement, months before race riots would tear through dozens of American cities. The song spent 12 weeks at number 1. It won 2 Grammys. It became one of the defining anthems of an entire era. When Otis Redding performed it at the Monterey Pop Festival in June 1967, weeks after Aretha's version was released, he introduced it to the crowd with these exact words: "This next song is a song that a girl took away from me, but I'm still going to do it anyway." Number 5, I Love Rock and Roll, Joan, Jett, and the Blackhearts, 1982. In 1975, a British band called the Arrows recorded a song called I Love Rock and Roll. It was written by guitarist Alan Merrill and drummer Jake Hooker. They performed it on a UK television program called Arrows and released it as a single that same year. In Britain, it did nothing, barely registered. 3,000 miles away, Joan Jett, then a 17-year-old member of the all-female rock band The Runaways, was in London on tour. She caught the Arrows performing the song on television late one night, and something about it hit her immediately. The simplicity, the swagger, the pure, unapologetic declaration of it. She did not have permission to record it. She simply went home and started playing it. In 1979, while still looking for a label willing to sign her post-Runaways, Jett recorded a version of the song with her new band, the Blackhearts. Every major label rejected it. She and her manager, Kenny Laguna, pressed and distributed copies themselves out of the trunk of a car. When Boardwalk Records finally signed her in 1981, I Love Rock and Roll became the lead single of her debut album. It was released in November 1981. It reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in March 1982. It stayed there for 7 consecutive weeks. Alan Merrill watched from England as the song he wrote in 1975 became one of the biggest rock anthems in American history. He later said of Jett's version, Joan found the definitive way to deliver the song. She had heard it once on a TV, recognized something nobody else had seen, and refused to let it stay buried. Number 6, Tainted Love, Soft Cell, 1981. In 1964, an American singer and producer named Ed Cobb wrote Tainted Love as a B-side for his own label. A Northern Soul singer named Gloria Jones recorded it. The track, electric, and years ahead of its time, was released and promptly ignored everywhere except the underground Northern Soul Club circuit in England, where DJs kept it alive for a decade as a cult favorite. Nobody outside those clubs had ever heard of it. In 1981, Mark Ullman and Dave Ball, the British synth-pop duo Soft Cell, were producing their debut album Non-Stop Erotic Cabaret in London. They needed one more track. Their producer Mike Thorne suggested covering Tainted Love, drawing from the Northern Soul version he knew from the clubs. Ullman agreed immediately. They recorded it in a single session. What Soft Cell did to the song was strip it almost to nothing. Minimalist. Synthesizer, drum machine, Ullman's anguished vocal, and in doing so revealed something the original had hidden. The original was raw grief. The Soft Cell version was cold and sleek, and somehow even more desperate. Tainted Love was released in July 1981. It reached number 1 in the UK and became one of the defining records of the entire decade. It charted in 17 countries. It spent a record-breaking 43 consecutive weeks on the US Billboard Hot 100. Ed Cobb died in 1999. He had written dozens of songs over his career. None were as famous as the B-side that a Northern Soul DJ kept alive for 17 years until a synth-pop duo from Leeds finally showed the world what it was worth. Number 7, Twist and Shout, The Beatles, 1963. Twist and Shout was written by Phil Medley and Bert Burns, 2 professional New York songwriters, in 1961. The original version, recorded by a group called the Top Notes, flopped completely. The Isley Brothers recorded it in 1962 and had a modest hit. Then came February 11th, 1963, Abbey Road Studios, one of the most legendary single days in recording history. The Beatles booked Studio 2 for the entire day to record their debut album, Please, Please Me. They worked for 10 hours straight. By the end, they had recorded 9 songs. John Lennon had a severe cold throughout, drinking milk, eating throat lozenges, trying to preserve what remained of his voice. Twist and Shout was left deliberately for last, because producer George Martin knew what it would do to Lennon's vocal cords. If they destroyed his voice on this one, nothing else that day still needed it. Lennon stepped up to the microphone and shredded everything that was left. Martin had planned for 2 takes. He got one. The second take exists on archival recordings. It is a pale, broken shadow of the first, a voice running on empty. The take that appears on the album was the only one that worked. Twist and Shout reached number 2 in the UK. In the United States, it reached number 2 on the pop chart and number 1 on the R&B chart simultaneously. 2 professional songwriters from New York wrote it in 1961. A 22-year-old from Liverpool who had already been recording for 10 hours made it unforgettable in a single take on the final song of the day. Nobody has ever made their joint voice sound that powerful. Number 8, Proud Mary, Tina Turner, 1971. John Fogerty wrote Proud Mary in the summer of 1968, on the same day he received his discharge papers from the United States Army, where he had spent 2 years avoiding being sent to Vietnam. He was so relieved and so creatively flooded that he wrote 3 songs that day.
One more time.
One of them was Proud Mary. Creedence Clearwater Revival released it in January 1969. It reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became one of their signature songs. The CCR version was driving, swampy, mid-tempo rock, built around a single rolling guitar riff that sounded like a riverboat engine. Fogerty was proud of it, protective of it. Then Ike and Tina Turner got hold of it. The Turners had been performing the song live for months before they recorded their version in 1971. They added something CCR had never considered, a completely different opening. The song begins, in their version, with Tina speaking directly to the audience. She says, "Every now and then, I think you might like to hear something from us, nice and easy. But there's just one thing, we never ever do nothing nice and easy." Then the tempo collapses. The music restarts at half speed. And then, without warning, it explodes. Proud Mary reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the Ike and Tina version. It won a Grammy for Best Rhythm and Blues Song. It became one of the most iconic performances of Tina Turner's entire career. John Fogerty later said of their version, "They just blew me away completely. They took my song somewhere I never imagined it could go." Number 9, Take Me to the River, Talking Heads, 1978. In 1974, Al Green co-wrote Take Me to the River with guitarist Mabon Teenie Hodges. Green recorded it for his album, Al Green Explores Your Mind. It was raw, baptismal, spiritually charged in a way that was impossible to manufacture. It reached number 32 on the Billboard Hot 100 for Al Green at his commercial peak, a modest result. Then David Byrne drove through Memphis. Byrne, the cerebral, experimental frontman of Talking Heads, was on a road trip across America in the mid-1970s. He had the radio on. He heard Take Me to the River and was so arrested by it that he pulled the car over to find out what it was. He had never heard anything like it. As a New York art rock musician, he had grown up in a completely different musical world than Al Green's Memphis soul tradition. But the song stopped him physically, the tension between the physical and the spiritual, the image of water as both danger and cleansing, the groove beneath all of it. He learned the song and brought it to Talking Heads. Their version Recorded for the 1978 album, More Songs About Buildings and Food stripped away some of Al Green's humidity and replaced it with a funkier, more mechanical pulse, but kept every ounce of the original's devotional intensity. It became the band's first significant chart success, reaching number 26 on the Hot 100 and introducing Talking Heads to mainstream audiences for the first time. Al Green's original remains a masterpiece, but the man who pulled his car over on a Memphis highway heard the song's future before anyone else did. He just had to drive through the right city at the right moment. Number 10, Manic Monday, The Bangles, 1986. In 1984, Prince was the most commercially dominant artist in the world. Purple Rain was everywhere. He was unstoppable, and in the middle of that creative explosion, he wrote a song he decided he didn't need. He had met the Bangles at a party. He liked them. He thought the song matched their sound perfectly, so he gave it to them under a pseudonym, writing the credit as Christopher, one of his many alternative names, to downplay his involvement. The Bangles gathered around a cassette player in 1984 and heard the demo for the first time. Susanna Hoffs later told NPR that every member of the band was, in her word, smitten the moment it played. They recorded it with producer David Kahn and released it as the lead single from their album Different Light in January 1986. Manic Monday reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, held off the top spot by That's What Friends Are For. It reached number 2 in the UK. It became the song that launched the Bangles to international stardom and remains their most recognized track. Here is the irony that makes this story extraordinary. In the same chart run, Prince's own single Kiss was competing for position, and while Kiss eventually reached number 1, Manic Monday outsold it at certain points in specific weeks. Prince had written a song so commercially perfect that it competed with his own releases. He gave it away to a band he had just met, and it became bigger than almost anything he personally put out that year. He heard genius in them before the world did, and handed them the key.